Stephen. Right. What's going on? Why is this a bit weird? Oh, Jesus, waiting room. Oh, God, it's got a waiting room. Okay. Probably.
Morning.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
It was funny this time when we did it. Everyone sort of came in one by one. Normally it's like everyone.
Yeah.
We ended up with a waiting room thing. Normally we don't have it, so we're trying to figure out why we couldn't see anyone.
It's be a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good
Hey,
morning.
Matt. How are you, buddy?
Hey.
Doing good.
Just leave it, Jess. I got it here.
Oh, you got it. Okay. We just.
Looks like we have a good crowd.
Yeah. Can we? Well, we can't alter it now, can we?
So you have to do each one at a time.
Yeah, someone just has to keep watching for.
Click security and turn the waiting room off.
Ah. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, right. That can go away.
Okay.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, ditch that.
That should just let people in as they join.
Hello. It's good to see you guys again.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning. Oh, we've got such a good surprise for you today.
Yeah.
We've been holding something back.
Yeah. Two things.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Forgotten about the other thing. Oh my god. Oh, can't wait. How's everyone?
Hello.
Great to see
Nice.
you all.
So, should we just kick into it?
Yeah, so for anyone who's not been on this before, welcome. And how it works is decisions get made here, and we use polls as well to everyone in the community. But it can we can make big decisions or little decisions, but we do it together. And one voice can be heard. So if someone disagrees with everyone else's opinion, it's really valuable to us as well. So that can change the direction we go in as well. So don't hesitate if you have a query or a concern about any decisions or what we talk about, or something to add. Just say something. Right, we want to.
Yeah.
But actually,
Get into it.
Well, you go.
Oh, so
Good. Just before we get started, just one thing that really helps if people could mute if you're not speaking. There's a lot of background noise often, and it really makes it hard to hear.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Wayne.
Cool. Thanks, Wayne. Yeah. So you might notice we have Birk back on the boat. He's been back for almost a month, and he's on a 3-month visa. So we've got a ticking timeline to deal with our Australian travels. We have to be out of Aussie by May 26th. So that puts a fair bit of pressure on us to get everything resolved and to head off. But it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool to have that positive pressure. So it's awesome to have Birk back on board.
Because you know what it's like if you've got a project, if you've got an extended timeline, you'll
Yeah.
go right out to the timeline. So it's good to have it shortened. We've got to push a little bit. So, but because of everything that's happened, which we're about to explain, it's a wee bit of pressure, isn't it?
Screen record. Sorry, guys, we're just going to screen record the Zoom meeting. We just realised we forgot to turn it off down the bottom middle.
We're just going to do a little bit. So,
Just one quick thing. I don't know if it's me, my hearing, or my computer. It's a bit hard to hear you guys. Can you turn your
what is it?
mic up, perhaps?
No, it's off the computer.
Is it? Ooh.
Yeah.
Why?
We're just going to have to yell.
Should we come closer?
Can we change it?
No, not easily. We don't have the cords for it. Yeah, so we're just going to have to yell.
So we'll yell. Thanks for that.
I don't know if it's just me or I don't have the headphones. I think I'm going to have to invest in some.
Normally we use this guy. Normally we use this guy, but we don't have the right cord for it for this computer. So
can you tell what kind of week we've had with chaos? So yeah it's been that way. Okay, we'll yell. Remember to yell.
Someone commented the other day that they knew that we were beyond busy, and I said, man, I long for the day to just be beyond busy.
But it's good. It's good what's happening.
So as you know, we let the magic smoke out of our charge controllers, and that kind of led to a cascade of things going on the boat with the electrics, and we need to resolve that. So that's pretty much today's major topic: is how do we solve that? With the poll that was run, sorry, I'm just going to make sure I'm not jumping in or something. So with the poll that was run, that was kind of what kickstarted us to look at doing a GoFundMe. There was a number of people sort of commenting, and then obviously the poll just to see where everybody's sitting at. So that's sort of what we want to talk about today is where everybody's at, what expectations are, what you think we should do, that sort of thing.
Let me rephrase that. We're making the decision today, and then if everyone's supportive, which it sounds like most people are, then we're releasing the GoFundMe tomorrow, at the same time as we release the episode to go onto YouTube.
Yeah. So it'll be live at the same time for everybody, basically.
We just want to make sure that just we've got an opportunity just to discuss it and just check, and then we'll go for it. But we want to talk to you about what we're going to do, the targets and the costs, and what's actually going on in detail. So we're organised enough to have a list on the board.
So should we do that one there?
Yeah. So thanks everyone for the poll. Amazing. What did it end up on? 100 and...
It was last time I looked, it was 202 or something like that. Yeses, 1 no, and I think 8 unsures.
Yeah.
And I would love to understand if any of the no's or unsures are on today. I would really, really love to understand the thinking, because like there could be a really valid point in there that changes what we do. So if anyone was a no or an unsure, please like sing out, like put your hand up, comment, like whatever, however, even if you want to just message us privately, whatever you want to do, because that really matters to us.
And we're assuming because no one got in touch privately and had a really big issue with it, that it wasn't that big a deal. So but if anything, anyone? No? Okay, cool.
All right, cool.
It's fine. So the cost. So
Daniel wanted to say something, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
That's still unmuted.
Yeah, he's trying to unmute. Can we do it on this end?
Is it on our end?
Ask to unmute. Hang on, Daniel, we're trying to unmute you on our end, mate.
Try that.
There we go. Done.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In your list, do you have a priority order on the GoFundMe?
Well, sort of, but I'd really like to talk about that with everybody, because the conversation may change what the list is, like the priority list is.
And the surprise changes things.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
we're going to discuss everything, and then we're going to unleash the surprise at the end, because we think it's worth it. It's worth the wait.
Hey, that's Brupeg. Always in the last moment.
Everything's going wrong. Last minute. It's okay.
Yeah. So we sort of thought about, we approached this in like what would be the bare bones that we could get away with, what would be like a middle ground that would do everything but might have a few compromises in it, and what would be like a Rolls-Royce solution. And as you can imagine, the Rolls-Royce solution is what we'd love to do, because there's just no compromises in it, but may not necessarily be what's possible based on the GoFundMe and all that sort of stuff. So being pre-GoFundMe, there's a lot of assumptions in sort of this conversation. So a couple of things that so what does the boat need? So it absolutely needs new charge controllers, because 7 of 9 are working, but they're only working at 30% capacity. So like they're just not even close to.
They did blow up.
Yeah, we let the smoke out. And actually, in a way, it's kind of a testament to how bloody good they are. Yeah. The fact that we nuked them and they're still working. So, anyway, so at a bare bones minimum, we need new charge controllers. The next sort of priority would be, I think, a generator upgrade. So, like, not necessarily removing the generator we've got already, but adding another generator. So,
but it's important to understand that the one, and we've talked about it on the episodes, that the one we've got is going to burn out. It's not going to work. Yeah. It's too small to run as a prime generator. It's just, we're going to nuke it. So we want to have it as a backup, but we don't necessarily want to take it out of the system, but we don't want to use it too much if we can get away with that. Ironically though, it's tiny, but it still runs the whole bloody boat. Even though it screams at you the whole time. So
we can attest to it does run the whole boat. Duncan and I have been witness to this.
Yeah, it it sounds like you're trying to pull a Boeing with a Cessna, but it still does it. So
it's not polite or
Yeah.
gracious. Yeah.
So, like in an ideal world, we'd like to have like maybe anywhere between say a 12 and a 18 kVA single phase generator.
Like to have or need? There's a difference.
Well, yeah,
I think it's a need, isn't it?
it's pretty much a need, but if we can't get it, we can't get it. But so yeah, in terms of priority, I think charge controllers are number one because they're the cheapest, fastest, easiest things to just do. Generator, but like bigger prime generator is definitely my number two anyway, because if everything on the boat shits out, we can run the boat from the generator. So it allows us some breathing space. And then thirdly, I would say inverter upgrade. And actually, okay, so there's an inverter upgrade and there's DC charging from the main engine. I actually kind of think DC charging from the main engine might be third because it's a relatively low cost thing, and it means we get power while we're steaming from the main engine. We don't have to run a generator. And I know Duncan hates the fact that these are almost at the bottom of the list, but inverter upgrade.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking my list is, and I bet Duncan's
Yeah.
list is different.
because two inverters, the two inverters that we need, two 8 kVA inverters, is 10 grand Australian. And in terms of, there's lots of things that we can chip away at that are like $1,000 for main engine charging, $1,800 for DC charge controllers. Like they're much smaller dollar value and they're kind of bigger bang for buck. So that's why I pushed the inverters further down. We've got inverters even though they're terrible, but whereas the new inverters will just make everything work. So that's sort of my list. Which has anybody got any thoughts on that, or does anybody see it in a different order?
More batteries.
Oh yes, more batteries. Good work.
Are they on the list?
Yeah. So
batteries here.
batteries.
Okay.
So this is my rough cost of everything. So we've priced up an 18 kVA single phase genset, and it's $14,000 landed on the boat.
But there's a caveat to this because of the.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So in the south of the country, there's been lots and lots of power cuts, and there's been heaps of floods and all sorts of stuff that's kind of knocked out a lot of infrastructure. So every man and his dog and every farmer has cleaned out the entire supply of single phase generators in Australia.
Really impossible to get them.
Everyone I rang just doesn't have any. So, and you can either buy a blooming 300 kilowatt generator, or you can buy a 3 kilowatt generator and nothing in the middle. So it's actually kind of difficult to track anything down, and everything secondhand is either way overpriced or 30,000 hours on it or something crazy. So I really don't want to go down the road of that, because it's just like it's $5,000 for a generator with 20,000 hours on it. So it's just not a value for money proposition.
Hence some of the panic this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions.
Yep.
So I chatted with you on the Patreon about your Get Home, the generator for your Get Home engine.
Yeah.
Now, would that be an additional third generator?
Yeah. So the original layout design idea that we had was main engine and 2 generators. So one would be like the 15 kilowatt generator, and the big one would be a 3-phase 55 kilowatt generator, and that would run the Get Home motor. Now the issue with the big generator is that its only job is to run the Get Home motor, because we'd be running it at about 20% load if we ran everything else off it. So we're going to kill it.
So it's just not efficient. Yeah, got it. Okay, that makes sense. Because the reason I'm asking is, you guys were talking about heading off to Indonesia, and I'm wondering if both generators would be cheaper and more available there, and not trying to fill that hole from Australia. So if you get your ability to charge from the Cummins, that could and get your solar back online, that could really maybe help you limp off to someplace where you can get the generators. Now for the charge controllers, are you going to go to 200 amp?
So the next size up is 150 amp. So
150, and which is
so 150 volts, 35 amp. So we only ever produce 22 amps. So we're fine on the amp side, and the volts, we're right on that. We're 90 volts, so we're right on that borderline of the hundreds that we've got now. So going to the next size, we think will be acceptable.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But then the other thing you talked about was the challenge of everything not talking to each other.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, it's kind of, you know, the solar is the heart of your system, right? The generator is bonus.
Yeah.
So having a solar system that's completely integrated and knows how to talk to all the components and take care of itself and keep itself healthy, to me is kind of like the core important focus.
Yeah, absolutely. The main issue
So
that
that's
we
my
have,
two.
the main issue that we're having so many issues with things not talking to each other, is the inverters. When they're trying to do the shore power charging, they override everything. But as soon as we're off shore, the solar takes priority and it sort of gets everything back in line. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Motorola. I haven't got your name. Motorola.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's Ben. It's Ben here. I went through a similar situation with that when I was in the Navy on submarines.
Yep.
About like the power supply and everything like that. So, is there an option instead of limping? Is there an option for instead of like bigger like batteries and chargers? Is there another way to up that power supply without going through like all your inverters and that? Is that going to have to change all your software system as well? That was the biggest thing we found on the submarines, was when they upgraded everything, the software system wouldn't talk to it, and in the end they end up getting rid of one company and bring from France and bring another one in from the US to sort it, because they had to change the whole software system from like DOS to Microsoft. So is that going to be an issue as well down the track when you upgrade? Is the software system going to be capable, or will it not talk? Is there another way to maybe spend a little bit more money and get a system that actually integrates and talks to it? And you'd have to talk to Duncan and that. I'm just, from what we had, that was back in 2000. So I know there's a lot of advancements since then, but that was the biggest problem.
So
yeah, thank you.
So it mostly comes down to the brands of equipment that we use. So if we use Victron for everything, there's no problem. It completely talks to itself and it integrates as a unit. Like it's built in. You don't have to do anything. If we start mixing and matching brands, that's when we have all the problems, and that's what we've got right now. Yeah. So we've got weirdo inverters, we've got Victron charge controllers. You know, we like every time we add something, it's never the same brand, and then nothing talks. So
well, that's exactly what we went through. They kept on adding different brands. So yeah, if you definitely spend the money, get the brands that all talk to each other. Look, I'm in. So yeah,
so
definitely.
We did a big chart because lots of people commented and recommended brands, and you know, lots of people have used lots of different brands, and many of them we don't know about because, like, being an Aussie, we only get, you know, some of the brands out there, and there's a heap in America and things like that we don't know about. So lots of people commented on the different brands, and we did a chart that took up this whole board, and it was every single brand that people mentioned, and then down the bottom and then across the top we had everything that we needed. So the fact they talk to each other, they could do solar, they could invert the shore pad, like all the different components. And of everything, there was lots that did bits, but there was only 2 brands that did all the stuff we need, Victron and Mastervolt.
Lovely.
They're the only ones that we could pretty much use. Mastervolt they're both really solid brands, but Mastervolt is kind of a bit older, doesn't have anywhere near the community knowledge and also the after sales support. And it's also, from what I've read on forums, it's a bit clunky to program compared to.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that too. Yes, they have a lot of intermittent faults.
Yeah.
But thank you. Yep. Sorry.
So basically, they were the 2 options that we really drilled down on, was those 2, and pretty much everything that when we put them head to head, it sort of seemed like Victron came on top every single time, and they were pretty close in price. So it wasn't like one was a massive, you know, deal breaker over the other or anything. Yeah.
No, cool. Thank you. Just clarifying that. Yeah, definitely. All the same gear I'm in.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Just one concern I have is I see the generator and the solar, they work together. It's not, we can't rely on solar.
No.
So I don't see the genset as an optional thing. I see that it's a vital thing. Yeah.
If we have main engine charging, it takes its criticalness down a little bit, but it still doesn't.
But you don't want to have to turn the
main engine on
to cook a meal, do you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I've been functioning from the perspective that it's equally important.
No,
to get everything talking.
It's like every part of the system has a really critical role, or else it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
It's sort of,
Yeah. Because I think some people are thinking that the genset is like an optional. Maybe we can use that maybe we need
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
I see it as when there's no sun in the sky.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, what we've realized is we need to increase batteries. We need to increase what we can hold. So that's part of it. So do you want to just quickly talk about, because the prices are scary, and GoFundMe is wonderful, but oh my gosh, these prices are feel impossible.
So I'll give you a number first.
Yeah.
It's $41,000 to $44,000 to do the whole system, and that's if we did it Rolls-Royce layout. So
what's needed? Actually,
it's not. This is nothing extra. It's like, but it's
you're calling it Rolls-Royce, but it's what's needed, right?
Yeah. So it's 14 grand for the genset that we've been able to find, which is an 18 kVA genset. So it's probably a touch bigger than we need, but in saying that it's more than, it's got enough capacity, which in a way is a good thing, because if we're running research projects and stuff, we need lots of power. You're better off to have a slightly bigger genset. 2 8 kVA inverters is 10 grand, they're 5 each. 9 charge controllers is just under 2 grand, it's about 1,850. The 3 DC charge controllers that we need, the Victron charge controllers, is 1,200 for the 3 of them. So they don't make one that's big enough, so we have to stack 3 of them up. If we put 6 additional batteries, so the same as what we've got now, just add another 6 in, so we end up with tripling the battery bank. That's 7.5 grand. It's probably going to be about $1,000 to $2,000 of like parts and cables and breakers and whatever random stuff that we need throughout the install. And then the last 2 things is like having a qualified marine electrician like sign our design off. I'll get Duncan to talk about the design in a sec, because we're fairly confident that nothing will actually change on the design that we've got. It's more just having someone go over it that is able to put a rubber stamp on it and give it a sanity check, we think. And then we want to, ideally we want to have a qualified marine electrician install it, so that there's just no question about its integrity and the fact that it's going to be absolutely what we need. And they're also going to know stuff that we don't know. So
it's scary when you have lots of people coming and going on board. There's huge safety issues. If it's just us, sometimes you take risks so you know the system and you can feel confident, but there's just no room for error with multiple people on board.
So depending on how successful the GoFundMe is, we can maybe strip away the qualified install costs. If we just don't have the funds for that, we can maybe strip that away and do it ourselves. We can maybe not have the design signed off, but again, I'd really like to try and aim to get that all done.
Duncan's shaking no.
Duncan's shaking. So my would love to have it goal is to have all of that ticked off. Whether or not we get there is dependent on how successful it is and all that sort of stuff. But that's our backbone that we're aiming for.
So we need to talk about what the target is for the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
If everyone's happy to do a GoFundMe, no one has any objections, now's your opportunity to say something. No queries, questions, brilliant. Okay, thank you. And the community's definitely given their okay, so the whole community. So
you may now kiss the bride.
You love getting
sorry.
shocked, don't you?
Sorry guys, Wayne and David, I saw David had his hand up and Wayne had his hand up. I think Brent.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, there were a few people that were.
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment that you've got a number of different scenarios in terms of what gear you can get, and also in terms of the way you're going to be traveling and using the boat. Yep. When you're traveling, my experience is it's really great to have the engine just sorting out your power for you.
Yeah.
But you don't want to depend on that. If you're going to be sitting at anchor for a while you're doing some project work or whatever, you don't want to be watching for a cloud coming and thinking, oh God, we're going to run out of power.
Yeah.
But by getting a bit of everything, it does mean that they all get a rest. You're not relying on any of them continuously, and you can pick times to do maintenance when one of them's not needed.
Yeah.
So that was just my thought of having, rather than trying to have a master solution that will handle everything from one place, having them all in and talking to each other and doing it properly, to me, is not just the best, it's also the best peace of mind and the best opportunity to have backup scenarios of, well, if that does fail, we have 3 other ways we can do it, no matter what you're doing at the time.
Yeah, thanks, David, absolutely. Yep,
I'm completely with you on the main engine should be able to sustain the boat when we're moving. I just, like, independent of every other source, I just think, and it's frustrated the heck out of me that we haven't had that. Like, I know we kind of couldn't up until now, but yeah, no, I knew that we absolutely needed to do that.
It is one of the most frustrating things about this project, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you know what you need, but it's timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, David.
Sorry, was Wayne, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, so you'd said that there's no generators to be had in Australia at the moment. So it sounds like you found one. Would you have to import it then, or what's the deal? Okay.
I think we've found the generator that's available in Australia at the moment.
So
the last one.
Yeah.
So we've got a few surprises. So this is one of the smaller surprises.
Okay, so we've got a viewer down in Victoria. So it's 2,000 k's south of where we are right now. He's out in country Victoria, where most of the generators ended up going.
Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, Ryan McLeod. So his job is basically installing generators in boats for a living, and farms and stuff like that. Majority of them are boats and so on. He reached out to a bunch of his contacts, and he found one second-hand one, which he said, I'm going to go and test it. If it's no good, I'm not going to sell it to you, or I'm not going to let you buy it. He tested it and said, no, it's a piece of shit, don't buy it. And then he did a bunch more hunting, and he found one generator that was sitting in stock at a agricultural shop at a power shop down there.
So right now he's standing like this. No one's allowed it.
Yeah.
So we know what we can do.
So normally I did a few ring arounds, and if I could get one, there was up to a 14-week wait. Caterpillar was 20 weeks for a generator.
Yeah.
So basically they're making it in China and sending it over. So it's all your shipping time and all that sort of stuff. They were around 20 grand for a gen set of similar size. This one is 12,100 plus GST plus freight.
Oh, it's such a good price. Yeah.
It's an incredible good price.
Yeah.
So normally you can get an open generator or a silence generator. So one's got just generator on a frame. The other one has got a big box around it to keep the sound out. And it's silenced. Anyway, so we don't want that box. It's too big for the boat. We can't physically fit it in. So we need it to be an open generator. However, there is none. There's only this silence generator available. So Ryan is gonna, when we're able to place the order for it, Ryan's gonna go and grab it. He's an hour away. He's gonna go and grab it. He'll strip all of the box off it and everything, because he said he can use that in his normal job, which means that we have less mass to freight, less area to freight, etc. So it keeps our freight costs down. It makes it lighter and all that other stuff. And also, once it gets up here, we don't have the facilities to strip it down. We'll be doing it in the car park on the back of the ute. So it saves us. It's a huge favour to us, and it's $5,000 cheaper than anything I could find. The cheapest I could find was 16.5 grand. So it's an awesome deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, so that's the gen set that we found.
So
and is it designed for pressure feed as well?
Yeah, it's a continuous rated machine. It's got a it's a proper industrial unit. So no compromises basically. Yeah.
What brand engine does it have?
Yeah, it's a Kubota engine and a Leroy Soma alternator.
Okay.
So
good.
Pretty much Leroy Soma is what all of the mines in Australia seem to use. That and Stanford. It's almost every single generator that I look at the auction sites that have come from mines are Leroy Soma. So I'm pretty comfortable with both those brands.
Yeah.
So surprise time.
Yeah.
So we now need to talk about the target we're going to put on the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So a big surprise. You wanna?
So after the last week's episode came out,
Peter.
Yeah. So after the last week's episode came out, a day or two later, we had a guy just message us and say, "What's the story with the charge controllers? What do you need to do?" And I just said, "In an ideal world, we need to replace them. They're all basically cactus." And he said, "How much does that actually cost?" And I said, "If we go like for like, it's probably about $1,200. If we upgrade to the next size, it's probably roughly $1,800." And he said, "Hey, that seems fair enough. Can I have your bank account? I'll put the money across now." We're like, "What?" And he put, like 10 minutes later, he put 2.5 grand across.
No, he said 2.5 will cover it.
He said, 2.5 will cover it. And I was like, yeah, well, Peter, yep, absolutely. And he said, sweet, I'll get that across. So,
and you did it within 10 minutes. Yeah. It was in the account, so unbelievable. So
I just crossed that one off.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peter.
So
Peter's not with us here, but we've been in touch. So
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
So we thought that's pretty flipping awesome. It set us on our way.
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, cool. Well, that's a great basis to start the GoFundMe from. And then the following morning, we got another message from a guy called David at a company called Revolution Power, and he said, "G'day, Victron have asked me to get hold of you to look at doing a full system install," and we're like, "What?" Anyway, so the story is one of our viewers, and I think I know who it is. I'm not sure. They did a comment on YouTube, so I have to hunt that comment out to get their name. But one of our viewers emailed Victron and said, "You guys need to step up and do something for Brupeg. They've got a full, they need a full system and they haven't got it, and et cetera, et cetera."
They're blowing up charge controllers.
Yeah. So it might be Victron panicking about reputational damage. We're not sure. Anyway, they got hold of David at Revolution Power. So Victron called David at Revolution Power and said, "We want you to contact these guys and see what it's going to take to do a system install."
And he does batteries.
Yes. So his company basically is one of the main Victron agents in Australia, and he physically builds batteries as part of his business and then on sells them to other companies. So basically sticker engineering. So some of you might have heard of Red Arc. Red Arc battery, lithium batteries are David's batteries, just with a different sticker. Yeah. So he phoned us and
you were on the phone for quite a while.
Yeah.
We went through everything, and he sounded like he just kind of really got it, and he's done other sponsorships with other boat channels.
Yeah. So his role sort of with Victron, his role is basically doing all of the YouTube boat installs. So he's already done 4 or 5 YouTube boat installs, so he's pretty well aware of what we need and how we work and all that sort of stuff.
These are big channels, like
Delos,
big followings. Not like only little compared to these channels. So we're really lucky.
So we went through the whole boat, top to bottom, and he said, "Yep, that's fine. We'll supply all of the gear." So that's basically gets rid of the inverter cost, the charge controller cost, of the batteries as well. There's new batteries. What else have we got? Design sign off. That's gone as well. So the only thing we need to find money for now is an 18 kVA genset, some cabling, and an electrician to wire it up.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
What about the alternator for the engine?
And the alternator.
Alternator.
So
yes,
so
true,
the alternator that we've got right now is a new 100 amp, 24 volt, 100 amp alternator. For now, we're going to run with that and just add 3 DC-DC charge controllers. So it runs at a maximum of 50 amps when it's charging the lithiums. But in the back of my mind, the upgrade path for that is maybe we just get kicked out.
Yeah, you should just go for the high output alternator that's designed to work with lithium. Just don't screw around. You took 80% of the cost off this GoFundMe. I think you would have easily hit the target for the full cost.
Yeah.
Put this in there.
So so that leads to the next point. So right now the backup plan is use the alternator we've got with 3 DC, like supplied DC-DC chargers. If we can meet or beat the target, I would love to get. I don't know much about these alternators, and I need to understand them a lot more because I know nothing about them. But what I have read is that you can get some quite big alternators that are oil cooled, so they're able to sustain a much higher duty cycle without melting down. So I'd love to understand about those. Apparently they're common on buses and some trucks. They're not cheap. They're like $3,000 each. Obviously because they're basically a generation unit as opposed to just an alternator per se. But my feeling is something that's got some sort of cooling, I think is probably going to be better than what we've got by a long shot. That said, if there's others out there, like say a 200 amp alternator that's air cooled that will do the job and be good enough to do the job, then I'm completely open to looking at that. Because as I say, I don't know enough about that side of it. So,
yeah, I've seen other YouTubers who've installed like 150 amp in that kind of range that are lithium battery smart.
Right.
And they either have the all the electronics internal, or they have an external controller for them that it's not a DC to DC charge controller. That it's a converter. It's actually designed to moderate its output to appropriately charge lithium batteries.
The only caveat I would say with the alternator is it has to talk to the system. If we build something in that doesn't talk, we just end up exactly the same place that we're now, where one fights the other. Ben?
Yeah, sorry. I'll take care of all the cabling for you. Send me your details. Yeah, I'll take care of all the cabling. And the only other question I had was lithium batteries. Now, there's a lot of shit like that in the news. What's the firefighting suppression?
Okay, so there's lithium and there's lithium. So lithium battery, so lithium ion is got the highest energy density. It's what you see in EVs and like electric cars, electric planes, anything that needs a bucket load of power in a small package. They're the ones with the highest fire risk. So they're a bit temperamental. You've got to treat them right, and so on. They're perfectly fine if you treat them right. If you treat them wrong, that's where you have the issues. We don't have those. So lithium iron phosphate is what we've got. It's nowhere near as high energy density, miles better than like a lead acid, but not as high as a lithium ion, but also massively reduced fire risk. So
excellent.
there's videos. So so lithium ion is what you have in your cell phone, and if you stab a nail through your cell phone, it'll explode on you basically. There's videos on YouTube of people with lithium iron phosphate, which is the chemistry we've got, where people literally drive metal stakes through them, and they drive big trucks over. They do everything to destroy them, and they just don't break on you. So it's a totally different ballpark. That said, there is a fire risk. So if anything happens, at the moment we have a CO2 extinguisher that can nuke the battery box area, but I do think we need to get a lithium specific fire extinguisher, because I think and I have to clarify this, I don't think CO2 is enough to stop a lithium fire. I think you need a specific chemical that targets the lithium, and it's not cheap. It's like $500 for a relatively small extinguisher. So yes,
put me down for that too.
Oh my god!
Safety's priority. Like I said, it used to be on submarines. I know it's safety's priority. I'll pay for the cabling and get the fire extinguisher. Yep.
Mate, that's
Thank
amazing.
you
That's
so
phenomenal.
much. Wow.
That's phenomenal.
It might be just on the research of that, you might be able to look at, I don't know if like the inert, because like servers and stuff have lithium batteries on the BIOS boards. So it might actually, rather than being like a liquid, it could be like an inert gas extinguisher that you need to look at. I'm not sure. You'd have to check, but that might be the route you go down with that stuff.
So Jason, the fiery that was on the boat a while back,
he was the guy from New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand.
Yeah.
So he sort of got into the weeds a bit when it comes to looking at the lithium stuff, because it was fairly new extinguisher technology when he was on the boat, and he said, let me get my head around that, because he said we need to understand that so we know what we've got to do on the boat and stuff. We did find at that time one extinguisher, but like I say, I think it was like $550 for a 3 kg extinguisher. The beauty is it's a very small battery box, really, so we don't have to have a monstrous tub of chemicals to put out the fire. So we can get away with a smaller extinguisher, but we have to make sure we got the right one, whatever that is. So we'll do some research based on that, Ben, so that we make sure we get it.
Yeah, no dramas. I'll pay for it, no problem.
Amazing.
Thank
you so much.
Hi, John. Thanks. Yeah, amazing things happening here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So just my head needs to just quantify something or clarify something. So right now it's not a signed contract, and we have no reason to think that this is not going to happen. But we've gone back to Peter and asked for that this is actually like it's signed, it's a deal, it's all set. So he's responded really fast back. So he's dealing with that this week and getting it back to us. So there's a vague outside chance that this could not work, that we don't get that sponsorship, but it would be incredibly unlikely. So we just want to put it out there that that's a possibility. But there's also one requirement: we have to pay for their professional electrician to do the work. So we've got to come up with that cost, and it's about ballpark $5,000.
So he said allow $2,000 a day. Allow $1,000 a day, and he said it'll take 2 days to.
So we're thinking it might be a bit longer. So, but there's also another.
Yeah. So he said it'll take 2 days to install the system that they're looking.
Expect you to have more days than we are.
Sorry, can everyone mute? I think there's a bit of background noise going on. David at Revolution Power said that it's probably going to take about 2 days to install the system that they're looking at supplying. But what we would like to do as well, our AC switchboard is safe but terrifying in that when you open it up, it's just, you know how electrics should look really spick and tidy and everything's beautiful and all that sort of stuff? That's not what we have.
Graham has nightmares about that.
We have the spaghetti bolognese version, and it terrifies me every time we open it. So what we would like to do is, whilst the marine electrician is putting that system in, pay for a couple of days for him to basically redo that board so that it's absolutely smick and spot on. It was installed by a Sparky D, and probably 18 months ago now. We know that technically it's safe. it's got all the right breakers and everything. It's got earth leakage protection. It's got everything that we need to be safe. It just looks horrific.
We were up against the deadline,
Yeah.
and he did it technically right, and Dane was like, but safety would be good.
Yeah, and every time we have to like open that board up and look at it, Duncan's like going, "Oh, man, we really need to dedicate some time to dealing with this." And we've had that conversation about 14
Poor
times.
Duncan,
so far.
there's a few things, isn't there? Yeah.
So we'd like to install the system and then pay for a couple of days to get the AC board spot on. Just because it's scary.
Yeah. So if it all goes according to plan, and we have no reason to think it won't, we've still got to come up with some funding. So
yeah. So assuming they pay for everything, we had to pay for the cabling and parts. We've got the install costs of between $2,000 and $5,000, and then we got the genset cost of roughly 14,000. So I'm just gonna I can't believe that.
Just a question on the GoFundMe. Would it be more prudent to wait until contracts are done rather than prematurely?
I thought about that.
Mm.
That's what we're wondering too.
Yeah,
Want to talk about that?
We thought about that. One of the thoughts we had was if we go out to the public, because we understand you guys know that these things happen and they don't happen, and sometimes it moves, and goalposts move. We're nervous about if we go to if we release the GoFundMe and we say, but we've already got Victron doing a full install on the system. People will go, well, why do you need us to pay for anything? Surely they should be covering everything. So I'm nervous about people. I'd rather release it without saying anything and then say it as an update and then call it off early if we have to. Once everything's covered, call it off early, rather than go the other way and have people sort of think, well, they probably don't actually need any of the support because they've got that sponsorship.
I actually really like Scott's idea. Why don't we just wait? It's just a timing thing because we're up against the deadline to get out of the country. So yeah, because it does take a little while.
How much of a time wait are you talking about?
A week, potentially. What did you say?
Yeah.
But that, I know it sounds like nothing, but it's actually also like quite scary because we've got
4 weeks to get ready to go.
We need to get that generator ordered so that we can get it. Hey, Jace, we need to get that generator ordered because it's a week to get it here, basically. And then we need to get it in the boat mounted so that they can wire it up. So, and they're looking at wiring it up in 2 weeks. So
and then it takes a time to do the GoFundMe as well.
Yeah.
Although you can pull
and to get everybody scheduled and everything. Yeah, it makes sense to just go for it now. If you overrun, you've always got money in the kitty for your get home generator.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the system, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I actually think you're right about that. That's probably worth doing not in Australia, because that generator, we were going to buy a generator from the Cummins factory in China with a Stanford alternator, but getting it here, we've got to pay freight, duty, GST, all the other bits. And it takes a generator that's $7,000 up to about sort of 13,000. So if we can get to the generator rather than bring the generator here, that makes a lot more sense.
And we don't need to do that until we're out of Australia.
Yeah.
And actually quite a way up the coast. So yeah, we can delay that for sure. Okay, let's do that then. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, now that you do phrase it like that, sorry, Wayne, I sort of, you swung my decision. I think go for it. Having now known the full circumstance around it.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables, and getting through each variable makes a difference. Yep.
Everything has a flow-on effect.
Yeah.
So because it's going to come out, I'm assuming as part of the deal, you have to say these are sponsored by Victron or something.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be something like that.
Yeah, so it's going to come out the woodworks anyway, and you're better off to always be open and transparent.
That's what we thought.
Considering it's not just like people here that potentially would filter into the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we could word it saying Victron's contacted us about sponsor, like about doing a full system install, but there's a couple of criteria we need to meet in order to get that. We need to have a decent generator installed in the boat.
Which is true, and we need to be able to cover the cost of
we need to be able to cover the cost of the install.
Have they made you sign an NDA or something silly though?
So no, right now it's based off 1 phone call and 2 text messages.
Right.
And so, like I say, it's not a signed deal, and it may not happen. Like until it's a signed contract, it's not true.
And saying that, you just know someone who's qualified, who knows what they're doing. Vitron wouldn't be saying this unless they were go ahead. So we're pretty much sure, but we just want to be absolutely sure.
And the flip side is reputational risk. You know, Victron have a premium product, and if some redneck is basically installing it, yeah.
Hey, I'm in Georgia. I resent that.
Go rednecks, go rednecks. So we'll, as always, be transparent on the GoFundMe, explain what's happening, that there's a really good possibility that Vitron is going to support us and do a sponsorship with us, and this GoFundMe is to support us.
It's pretty much to lock in the bits around the sponsorship to make sure it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another idea. Is you've been talking about wind power as well. Could if you end up not needing the money for the Victron equipment, could you put it towards wind power?
Yeah.
Yes, I asked him about that, and he was saying, because I said we want to integrate wind power into it, and he said with the Victron gear, it's actually quite difficult to integrate wind power. So that's probably going to be, it'll be pushed down the road a bit, and it's also a relatively low cost thing to do. So a wind turbine is $500. We need 2 of them. We need charge controls. Like none of it's expensive, break the bank type stuff. So we can push that down the road, deal with that through our own cash flow ourselves.
But definitely on the list.
Yeah. But we just need to research how do we make that work, sort of thing, more than anything else. So rather than try and jam it into this sponsorship and slow everything down, I thought let's just leave that for now. We'll deal with it later. Sorry, Daniel, you're going to say something?
Yes, I have a question about that. Whether to say something about the Victron thing now or later. There's an old saying here: "Don't count your chickens before the eggs hatch."
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
In other words, for me, not mention anything about that conversation until it really happens. In other words, launch the GoFundMe that this is our list and wants of what we need to get our systems up. Whether I donate, Joe Smith donates, or Victron donates, will be after the fact that this is what your want needs are.
Yeah.
And that way you're not lying to nobody. You're just putting it out there. This is our want and needs. And then if somebody says, well, I'll pay for this, or I'll pay for that, or I'll donate this, it's after the fact. You have not lied about it, nor have you counted your chickens before they've hatched.
Yeah, I agree.
You're right, Daryl. I'm coming from the same place.
All right.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm nervous about telling people that we might have a sponsorship, and then that reducing the impact of the GoFundMe, and then the sponsorship doesn't happen, and we're like, well, fuck, how do we do it now? We haven't got the money to do anything now. So
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the way to go.
They may not be aware of what's happening. Do you know, Jason? Do you know what's happening with Vitron? When did you came in? But I think you after.
You're muted, Jason.
Yeah. I see the technology these days. You're talking and it's not coming through. I'm telling you about it. No. So basically, just being in late to the. It seems like you've reached out to Victron for a sponsorship, and you're waiting to hear back.
Actually, complete opposite. They reached out to us. So
Fantastic.
Yeah. So a viewer emailed Victron, and Victron emailed and said basically get off your bum. Victron then emailed one of their guys in Australia and said, can you ring or can you phone Brupeg and basically figure out what they need for a full system.
We want to sponsor them.
Yep.
With all the Vitron gear that we'll need.
Yeah. So
which is apparently the value is from their perspective.
He said it's probably $45,000 worth of gear.
Oh geez. So I see what you mean with the conundrum with the GoFundMe. Why don't you just, and again late to the party, but why don't you just put the GoFundMe on pause and see what Victron come back with? Because that's realistically what the GoFundMe was for, right? Was to do all the electrical side of it, right?
And that's what we were kind of looking at. And then, but the thing is, we've got to consider the timeline. We've only got 4 weeks before we leave the country, so we don't have enough time to postpone to get that sorted. And we're almost 100% sure it's going to go ahead.
An asterisk on the sponsorship is that we need to have a generator to be wired into the system, and we need to pay a qualified marine electrician to wire.
Okay.
So no matter what, even if we are sponsored, we still have to come up with a GoFundMe to do those bits.
Okay, so the GoFundMe, it makes sense then to run the GoFundMe for those things to go alongside. And I mean, it sounds like Victron are going to come on board. Did they give you a time frame for like, yeah, we're going to do it, and this is how long it's going to take to get you all the gear?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said we'd like to look at installing it in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
He said all the gear's in stock, so he said they're not waiting on the parts or anything. It's more just a case of when they can get a Sparky to be there, and they've got a Sparky that they want us to use.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I suspect it's more a case of they know his quality of work, and because this is kind of their reputation, they want to have it done however they want to have it done.
Absolutely, that makes sense, right? And then for warranties and things like that, it's installed by the dude, and you know, I mean, look, there's an inherent risk in everything, but I think if they're going to come on board, it would be a smart thing to go through with that, and then run the GoFundMe is rather than to do the solar or to do the Victron part of it, it's to help with that by getting these other things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And Victron has asked for a new generator, and that generator's here.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Sparky's here, so that's one of the timeline things, and that's dependent on when we run the GoFundMe.
I'll just jump in, man. Jump through your boats. It makes sense, right?
If we were to order the generator right now, it would take a week. It would take a week to get it on the back of the boat.
Yeah.
And then we've got to basically cut a hole in the back of the boat, drop it down, mount it. Hello, cat.
The cat's above it.
Just steering through the hatch.
Yeah.
It would take a week to get it on the back of the boat, and then we've got to cut a hole in the deck, drop it down, and mount it, and get it all up and running. And they want to be wiring it like 2 weeks from now. So
okay, so the generator you say you've got?
We've found a generator.
Against all odds in Australia right now, a viewer actually got in touch, and he works in that field, and he's found us one, and there's a waiting list now because of all the floods south and everything. All the
okay, but you can get it.
But we've got one sitting there, so
so you have to grab it, right? Even if it's scraping the barrel and eat baked beans for the next couple of weeks until the GoFundMe comes.
And this is the issue.
Chocolate cake, Birk. I mean, chocolate cake.
And this is the issue with delaying the GoFundMe is basically it delays us getting the generator. Even if it delays us by a week, it pushes us out of the 2 week timeline. Like we're really up against it with this timeline.
All the factors sort of influencing us like spaghetti. We're just trying to kind of
totally. It wouldn't be Brupeg without that, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How we roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you thinking then? What's the forefront idea right now for you guys? What are you thinking? Well, if you could do what you want to do, what would you do right now?
We love the idea of being transparent and just out there and honest and just go for it. So we're thinking what kind of is coming out of the meeting is laying it out. It's likely that Victron is going to come on board, and we're not 100% sure right now. And with the timeline, we need to actually do this right now. So we just thought we're going to do like you can do a little video thing on the GoFundMe, and you can do like in a description. We're just going to be honest as we can. If you guys are okay with that. Yeah.
But it's not like you're trying to cover up anything sinister. It's kind of like we're pressurized by time. We've got some people on board. We're going to need some money to do these other things to help with that, and that's where we're at. It's not like, anyone who's followed this channel for any period of time will know that it's not like a Lamborghini Huracan on deposit. If we can get this GoFundMe through, we'll get a generator and a new motorbike each.
But I love Daniel's point, and that's what we feel too. We can't trust this. We can't put all our eggs in one basket.
No.
So we don't want to, not say it, but we don't want to say it so that it cuts people's, inspiration around it. So just finding that balance, that'll be the description in the little video.
When you say other way to think is perfect. Sorry.
Yeah. What was that?
I said when she says it, like she just said it to you, it sounds perfect. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that the confusion, if anywhere, might lay for some people is, you're running a GoFundMe for Victron, but you're getting a sponsorship for them. But if you're quite clear and open about that, that's not the case. Victron looks like they're going to come on board, but we still have to be careful. So the GoFundMe is really it plays two parts. It either raises some money for the Jenny and everything to suit their sponsorship, or the sponsorship falls through and we've got some money to be able to do something with what we need to do anyway, right? So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
So here's a thought, which is, the kind of the what if aspect of it. So, if you lay out the situation, which is we anticipate a sponsorship, but we're not confident yet, we have to commit to this right away. If we get the sponsorship, we'll cut off the GoFundMe immediately. and B, if we overrun the amount, that we need and we're more than covered, here's our like B, C, and D list of things that this money will go towards, so that people feel good about, even if you do get the sponsorship, even if you get overcommitted on your GoFundMe, we kind of know where else the money's going to go. And that could give people a good feeling about, even if they get the sponsorship, I'm still good about making a contribution. So that's the way you could deal with being open and honest and still, not dampen the flames of enthusiasm for helping you guys out.
Yeah.
And there's definitely things that we can put it into that's not related, like a couple of winches for the wings, for example, and
so we can lift them.
Yeah, the hydraulics and
yeah.
The little things like that.
Yeah, I mean that's like we did that last time, right? It was like shit. We're gonna do a GoFundMe, and we got way more than we thought we'd get. And okay, look, in the interest of transparency, this is what we got. This is what we need to buy. This is the excess. What do you guys want to do with it? I mean, some of it needs to go to feeding you guys and putting fuel in the tanks and stuff like that. I'm sure that it's a part of it. But for big ticket items, it's nice to be able to sit down and go, hey, we've bought this because you gave us this. Now we've got this left over. What would you like us to do with it? And that's always been the case. So, I don't think any of us Patreons have any problems giving you any money towards anything because it's honest and it's well worth it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Jason.
I'm still waiting on my T-shirt, my Brupeg T-shirt. I'm a little disappointed about that, but that's okay.
Yeah. The guy in the department's been pretty shit on that.
Yeah. Merch. That's a big part of it. Merch.
Yeah. So we're probably going to do the same sort of thing as we did last time, in the sense that once like we did this round table, and then we run the GoFundMe, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, or whatever it is, we do another one so that we can kind of say, guys, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
We'll do a similar sort of thing again, so it'll be community driven the whole time,
So
when will you have the sort of go or no with Victron?
With the what?
Oh, Victron.
With Victron.
I'll probably in the next couple of days. So he asked for a couple of things. He asked for a wiring diagram of what's the boat set up like right now.
Yes.
So Duncan and myself and Birk have all gone through and done bits of that and got that to him. He asked for a load profile, so how much power each thing uses and how much per day we use that thing. So Jess and Birk have done that part. And then he asked for like a drone shot of the boat to figure out where the solar panel groups are and how they relate to the power system. So we've got all of that across to him now. And he's basically going to, on Monday, he said he'll review it, go through it all. He's going to do up a design of what they need, spec out all the different equipment and so on. And then I think he's going to put it to Victron and basically get sign off and come back to us. So I'm assuming it's going to take a few days back and forth.
Right.
He did say he's looking at having it wired in 2 weeks. So I suspect it's moving pretty fast.
It doesn't sound like there's any point where they're going to go, oh, actually, nah, sorry, team, we're out. It seems like they're putting a plan in place to do it, right? So.
But the thing that was really cool was when Damien was on the first call with this guy, I could tell Damien was impressed. He has some tells when he's feeling, he feels that someone is confident, their word, all of that. And the tells are just firing off. But then after that, when we talked it through, we found out he has a big boat himself. He's done multiples of these. It's Victron is in collaboration with him and multiple times. So there's that, but also in our communication with him, he's responsive. He's so responsive. Yeah. And just really clear in his communication. And a lot of people aren't. They'll drag things. They'll, you can kind of tell. So we're pretty optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the old RSA. It's the right person, the right place, right time, right equipment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I rated it as probably a 95 to a 98% chance it's going to go through. Like failing something that we don't know. I don't think there's many people that'll probably stop it.
Oh, it doesn't sound like having this conversation there's any chance that they're going to bail on it. I mean, you never know. Like you say, don't count your chickens. But hey, sounds good.
Yeah. So thank you. So the next decision really is target. What do we put as a target?
Yeah.
Do we start with the small one? Do we do it all at once? What do we do?
Is this for the Genie?
For the GoFundMe in total. What do we set as a target? Because the total amount we need is
not that anymore.
Was 44.
Let's call it 5 for that. So 19 grand is the current total. Most of that is the genset, and the balance is having their Sparky wired up. And just while I'm on that, Peter, I will talk to you about if you want to come up. I'd love to have you on board when we're doing it, because I was thinking having another qualified electrician actually being able to be on the boat. I suspect it's just going to be a real bonus. So if you want to come up during that install time, we would love to have you on board.
Well, let me know. I'm only 4.5 hours away, so it's no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've also got a bit of an engineering hat too. So if Duncan needs some support, I'm happy to chip in a bit of experience there. Like I deal with large power systems all the time with Ergon and Energex. So
Right. It's
Awesome.
going to be a bit of a joining of the clan.
Yeah, I think Duncan's going to try and organise his schedule so that he's here when the install's happening. That was the kind of conversation. Obviously, depends on your movements because you're going all over the show. So
It's more of that spaghetti, the variables everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, so because we still have the bottom of the faults that happened, and we're really keen to understand how it broke because we don't know yet, So yeah.
Well, that's this week.
Yeah.
I think to answer your question then is 20K probably, whatever that figure is, right? That would be ideal.
Yeah.
That's excluding Victron.
That's excluding Victron.
And Ben and Peter's donation.
Oh yes, yeah.
So maybe we do a tiered thing again, the minimum that we need, and then if it gets to that, then we extend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think you should plan on assuming that cover yourself in the event that something with Victron just doesn't work out.
Okay.
The GoFundMe should give you at least the minimum to get the system back to where it works for you, even if it's a little rough. But it works to get you out of Australia long enough that you can turn around and come back if you have to.
Yeah.
But don't short it down to the point where if they don't come through, then you've got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay, cool.
So should we go for 20 as the starting number?
I think so. That covers that base stuff. And then what was the add-ons, the labour cost?
Well, that's a generator plus $5,000 of labour.
Okay.
They've asked for that. They won't do it without that.
Cool.
Available for them.
Yeah.
Well, let's get that.
Prerequisite to get the sponsor, basically.
Yeah.
And Ben's offered to pay for the cabling and parts, like miscellaneous bits to get to each other. And a lithium fire extinguisher, Jace. So I need to talk to you about what we even need to do.
Yeah.
And we've had a $2,500 donation for charge controllers already. So there's basically $5,000 in the bank that we that number. So the 20 grand's now, 15 grand. If we got that 15 grand, theoretically we can get the new genset and we can get everything wired in and designed and all that sort of jazz. However, if Victron doesn't come through,
but that's what Matt's saying, and I'm thinking, why don't we say the total we need? Be very clear and open about that, and then start the target with the absolute with this. What do you think?
Yeah,
so it's clear, and everyone can just decide for themselves.
And then if we overshoot, people can see where it's going.
Yeah, and can see the overshoot too. Yeah. Okay, nods. Yep, cool.
Sounds good.
Great.
All right, awesome. That's cool.
But wait, there's more. Something else has happened. Sorry. High on your hats. It's not as exciting, but it's pretty exciting for us. Do you want to explain the life rafts and the interior?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And the genset and.
So a patron of ours, Robert, he touched base with us a while ago. This is the guy that donated the crane. And the crane drop off has been in organisation and planning for about 6 months. We're just trying to coordinate everything when he can actually get it to us. And anyway, we he dropped off the crane. We caught up with him. We had dinner. It was a great conversation with him.
And then they just dropped in a little thing during dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said so they've got 2 boats. When I say 2 boats, one
little
of them,
ships.
they're 2 super yachts. And they are in the middle of a full rebuild on one right now. So complete top to bottom. It's basically a brand new boat getting built. And they ordered.
Thanks God.
So their architect, naval architect, designer, etc. ordered some interior for it that was wrong for the boat. So there's $140,000 worth of interior sitting in Brisbane for a super yacht. They said we can't use. Do you guys want it?
Would you like it? You can have it if you want.
So, although we can't fit all of it, yeah.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. So whilst we were down there, we were wandering around. We were wandering around a big shipyard in Brisbane, probably one of the biggest shipyards in Brisbane, with this massive one. We're looking around his super yacht, and there's probably, I don't know, 20 super yachts in this yard. It's a huge yard. And we were looking through all the bits that he was saying, oh, do you want this? We can give you that. And
but at the time we were thinking, okay, Brupeg's a tender for that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So as part of it, he said, oh, I'll introduce you to David, the guy that owns the yard. And
we thought, oh, that sounds nice. Okay, great.
Yeah, and so anyway, we met David.
And the CEO.
Yeah, David and the CEO, the owner and the CEO.
And that's when we thought this is a bit weird.
Yeah. And they said, is there anything else you need? And that's a difficult question to answer because we need everything for the boat to work. But anyway, so he said, tell you what, put together a wish list, and we'll just go through the yard and we'll see what we can find. Now, do you need to pull out the boat and do an anti-foul before you go? Obviously, to be free of charge, of course.
We'll do it for you if you can get down to Brisbane. So that's worth about, what was it? That's 15 or 1,000 or something.
To haul out is a couple of grand basically, and to paint it is probably another 2 or 3 grand for them to do it. So,
but they're stripping it, and it's that really long lasting anti-foul.
So it's ship anti-foul off a tug. So they said, oh, we'll just use the same stuff we use on the tugs. So anyway,
anything else you need while you're here?
And part of it is like, part of it is Robert said, how are you for life rafts? And I said, well, we need life rafts. We don't have any, but
that's way down the line because they're so expensive.
Yeah, and he said, well, when they bring a super yacht in from Europe, the European life rafts don't meet Australian standards. So they have, even if they're brand new, they have to basically take them off and put new life rafts on. So he said, why don't you just have a European life raft? And we're like,
or a couple.
Okay. So because we're not in survey, we don't have to comply with the Australian rules, and we're also leaving Aussie. So we're going to have a European spec, pretty much brand new life raft potentially. So they're going to look around for 2 6-person life rafts to stick on the boat. So we have one on either side of the boat.
But wait, there's more.
They also basically said, we'll go through the yard, we'll do a clean out of all of the stuff that we're keeping over the years that we've pulled off boats that we can't use, but you may as well, if you can get some use out of it, go for it. So we sent through a wish list, and they said, oh, that's great, we'll go through and start working away on it. So we've literally...
So again, a caveat, nothing signed, nothing is, and sometimes things fall through, and it was so lovely to meet them and to spend some time, and we were pampered for an evening, and it was really amazing. But we've again a strong feeling that this will happen, but we have said thank you but no to the pull out in Brisbane because we don't have the time for it. So but we're so grateful, and we're in touch and saying thank you. So it's so touching, and everyone was so cool in the yard. People coming up, oh, Brupeg, hi! And it was so lovely.
Walking through the yard, and the foreman in this massive big shed with super yachts, and the foreman comes, oh, Brupeg! Yeah.
So they were all hoping to come and we'd haul out and we'd have some time together, but it's not going to work out. It was such an amazing experience. So we're in touch, and we're not sure about the interior. We saw a little bit of it, and it was beyond our imaginings of quality. It was mahogany cabinets and like beautiful big stunning mahogany tables, and we just don't know what we can fit and what we can't, but they've just said whatever, they're going to send us photos, and we're just going to say what we think we can use. And it looks like there's complete interior walls and ceilings as well, so we're not sure. We'd have to cut and paste, and we're hoping we can use quite a bit of it, but we'll keep you updated about it.
You know that paint quality where the timber work or whatever is perfect, and the joins are all perfect and all that sort of, and then they paint it with about 78 layers of clear, and it looks like liquid.
It was like that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So
that'll last about 3 minutes in Brupeg.
We'll have to buy a sharp blade.
Someone will paint
or
over all the roller.
Boot or something will kick it or whatever. Yeah. But amazing.
Did you manage to get a steering wheel?
No. We're still going to be driving with the Massey Ferguson wheel.
I was going to say, super yachts don't have steering wheels, eh? They have mouses and levers and...
So we may be able to donate them a steering wheel. Good, cool.
Hey, I've got an old Corvette steering wheel.
But there's one more thing. It's a small thing, but it means the world to us. Do you want to just see that? Vital on Brupeg.
Oh, yes.
This is the watch change alarm. It's going inside now.
So it's been an unbelievable couple of weeks, actually.
So good. Luckily, there's no time pressure on anything.
Exactly. We're really comfortable and relaxed back here. Yeah, sipping our coffee and
chilling.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good news. Nothing negative whatsoever.
Yeah, so nothing is completely set, but very possible. So we'll keep you updated if things fall away or if things actuate, we get things signed and all of that. We'll keep everyone updated.
Yep. So just to reiterate, GoFundMe is going to be going live tomorrow morning. So when we release the episode at 4 a.m. Brisbane time every Monday. So when we release that episode to public, we're also going to be releasing the GoFundMe at the same time. So so if anybody wants to donate, jump on that tomorrow, and we'll send the link on Patreon as well, so everybody's got a straight link to it. We'll add in the donations that we've already received, so it won't start at zero. It'll start at whatever the number is once we've added up all the donations that are already received. Ben, you can either donate on that, or you can donate to us, and we'll just add it to it. Either way, it'll show up on the tally.
If you guys are happy, look, I'm just after the meeting or whatever, just send me your bank account details and I'll just transfer straight away.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to worry about. I can do it through the GoFundMe, but I'm happy to do it that way. I can just put it straight in, then it's there.
It's incredible.
Sounds
Thank
awesome.
you. So you, as you can imagine, we're kind of, that when so much happens, and trying to deal with so many variables, we're a little bit numb. And then occasionally, it was like the other GoFundMe, that first GoFundMe, we were numb, and then we would burst into tears, or we would just be gobsmacked and sit at the beach in the car and just stare at each other. How was this possible?
Or in my case, you'd try and weld the bell up, and you'd just be looking at your phone the whole time, going, "Holy shit!"
We're a bit like that. So we're not altogether present, as you may have actually noticed through this conversation. We're just amazed and over the moon and blown away and can't believe it. So we're aiming for that timeline to jump countries. So
we feel very
good
privileged.
things happen to nice people.
Yeah.
Can
Nice
I
things
happen to good people.
We feel incredibly privileged to be in a position where we have so many people like yourselves backing us, and it's and not just for a small amount of time. You guys have been with us for a long time.
But the other thing too is we can have this conversation, we can share everything, and we know that you'll get it. You'll know that we know that you'll come up with things we've missed, and that you understand, and that you've got our back in it. It's incredibly rare actually for a channel to have this experience. And for us it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Guys, a couple of points I'd like to perhaps make. I was just wondering about another port, whether you want to change ports to somewhere, maybe even go down the river to Bundaberg if it's going to be easier to do work on the boat. To relocate electrical outlets on the boat, because if you're going to be a boat with lots of scientists and whatever on it, you're going to need lots of electrical outlets on it. And I kind of like the idea of, if people are going to donate prior to the GoFundMe thing, that it goes into the GoFundMe, because it'll build momentum. If you've got a certain goal and you've already made this much, then people are more bound to.
So I can talk to that for a sec. On the last one that we ran, GoFundMe has a feature where, let's say somebody donates $100 on PayPal or straight to our bank account, or something that's completely independent of GoFundMe.
Oh, okay.
We can then say Jeff Smith donated $100 on the 13th or whatever. So we'll do that in the background. So if someone gets to us in a different way, we'll make sure it shows up, because exactly that reason. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah. If you go to GoFundMe and it's only got $10 out of 10,000, you kind of go, well, nobody else wants to support it. Why should I? Whereas if you're halfway there already, then people will chip in a bit. Hey, fantastic news about what you guys are doing, and the support that's come on board. Absolutely amazing. Well done.
Thanks.
And Birk, nice to see you back, mate. That's my bit. See ya.
Thanks, Brett. Oh, cool. How are you feeling, Duncan? And timeline for visiting, because you're not at home right now. You're traveling.
No, so I'm in Adelaide, which is in South Australia at the moment. But the plan is we'll get home. We're home for about 10 days, home being Caloundra, which is close-ish to Bundaberg there. So the idea is around Easter, I'm hoping to get up to Brupeg for about 5 days. So if the timing works out as to when I'll say marine electrician is up there, that would be fantastic. And none the least, it takes the load off the rest of us, and the electrician can be doing all that stuff. And we can actually get back to tidying up the wheelhouse and all that navigation system. It needs a bit of a tidy there. And I'm actually going to migrate actually the same sort of machine that the navigation system's running off. So just to up the robustness there a bit.
Yeah.
We're trying to get away from any spinning disk computers on the boat. We're trying to move everything to solid state, just so that it's going to last. But also the Nook computer that Duncan's talking about is just so much more powerful than the Raspberry Pi and kind of just more robust. So for a long-term solution, it's just a better way to go, we think.
That's a good point, Damien. I forgot. So getting that North Star kit was fantastic. But as Damien mentioned, I think it's running Windows XP. Still, that sort of tells its age, and it's still got an original spinning hard disk. And already we're starting to see. And I think Scott, you might have been there. Scott's gone. It sort of has these little random crashes. Now the trouble is, at the moment, the radar and the sounder depend on the North Star CPU. So what Scott and I have started to do is seeing if we can't somehow run the sounder and the radar without the North Star CPU. Actually, we're quite hopeful with the radar. So OpenCPN's got a module which looks like it'll drive the radar. I just want to make sure it does it reliably. The sound is a bit more of a challenge, and maybe the fallback position, particularly if the boat gets hauled out. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but you can get enemy A2000 sounders. So basically the sounder goes in and there's... Sorry?
Sorry, just...
Okay.
Apparently me. How does that even happen? Sorry.
No, you're right. Yeah, so the fallback is we can go to an enemy A2000 direct sounder, which will hook straight into the system, but that means a haul out to do that. So I've still got a couple of ideas to try and see if we can't run the existing sounder without the CPU. So that's something we can do in that 2 weeks' time as well.
And just because there was not enough to think about, Damien has pondered the idea of hauling out and checking the bottom, and checking the anodes and checking the NFL on Brupeg while we're here in this yard, because it's easy to do. It's a bit pricey, but
it's about
it would give us peace of mind.
It's about $1,000, and the thought was basically pull out on a Thursday, hang in the slings overnight, and we just go through the bottom, just do everything a final inspection, and then put it back in Friday morning before we leave, sort of thing.
But we're not sure, so that's just something that we'll keep you updated if that gets added into the mix. Yeah. We might be relaxing too much one particular day and need to put it in or something. Another job.
Yeah. And the fallback position is dive on the boat. So once we go out to Musgrave for our first proper trial, just jump in the water and basically have a bloody good look, and we may not even need to pull it out. It might be fine. So
just to update you too, so we definitely want to do, before we head north, we want to go to Musgrave and come back, but we want to come back to this marina, because this is where we can easily haul out. They know the boat really well, so we're going to do hopefully 3 days, and that'll be our first proper steam and going out to an island. And so that's got to happen in that month, so there's a lot.
So welcome to Brupeg.
Chaos as always. Oh, thank you everyone. Anything else before we go? Thank you.
I have one question.
Yeah.
You talked about the batteries and the fire protection for that. Is it valid to have a separate chamber that they're in? So if there was a problem, you could actually flood only that chamber?
It pretty much is at the moment. So in the battery box area, where we've got the batteries, the inverters, and the charge controllers, we're kind of thinking of that as our containment chamber. We're about to change the battery so that we've got more battery. Hopefully change the battery so we've got more in there. So we're going to have to rejig it all anyway. I don't know about building a box, because they need to have the ability to cool. So I think if we had a box, you're going to have opening and close, exit and entry.
Yep, yeah.
Anyway, so,
But that has got me thinking, we're going to do a ventilation
yeah.
pipe from that box out the top of the boat. That's going to have to be closed off if that happens.
Yeah, we'll do some sort of thing inside the boat. So we
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah.
Jace, can I get some advice on a lithium capable extinguisher?
Capable. You mean one of those ones you throw into an already established fire and it just goes push?
No, well, I don't know. I don't know what's available.
What would actually stop it?
Yeah, so
there is extinguishers out there for lithium batteries. There's actually a new one on the market. I was watching some material on a couple of months ago actually, because we were looking at, especially with work and with aircraft, there's everyone's carrying a battery form of something, right?
Yeah.
And we're thinking like for EV cars, what do we do for that side of things? Obviously, it's a bit of a grander scale, but we actually bought a blanket that you drag out over the car and just kick it in underneath, stop the air getting in, and you just let it stop. With no air, it stops. And we also have at work, we have some bags. So if like a battery of some sort of, a portable battery or whatever, you can put them in a bag and seal them off, chuck them in a metal bucket, and with no air, they don't burn through the bag, and then they stop burning, right?
Right.
The key thing is to make sure that whatever's decided to have, the thermal runaway or whatever it might be, can we get it from where it is and isolate it as quickly as possible? I think that's the key. But yeah, there's a couple of new extinguishers out for lithium. It's kind of it's almost like, it's not a halon extinguisher, but I can send you some info on it anyway. So if in that area underneath the bridges where you're talking,
yeah.
If the batteries decided to go up, then yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hard one for you because your point of entry into that is from up down, right? So obviously everything that's on fire and burning wants to push up into your face when you're trying to get down in there and supply some.
I had a thought about that. We've got alarms and stuff in there, so if it goes up, we're going to know about it before we lift the floor. And I actually thought about having a hole in, like where the stairs are. I thought about having a hole there that you just jam an extinguisher in and nuke it. Don't actually open it. You just fill it with whatever the extinguisher is.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and so if you do have that issue, just as an aside, how do you go for steering the boat and doing what you need to do to get it back to port if all of that electronic has gone and fried itself?
Everything's steering wise, everything's hydraulic. So that could probably take a feel. And actually, the pipes don't go anywhere near that. They're on the other side of the steel wall and they go under the floor. So they're not. They should be pretty okay.
Still get back to somewhere without the electricity part of it. Yeah. Cool. No, I'll send you some info. There's lots of info online. I'll be able to copy in on the video that I watched as well for it. So I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah, thanks Peter too. Peter's just sent something as well.
Got your link. And also Phil's camping reviews on YouTube. I don't know what the regulation is around the boxes, and that's part of the thing with having Victron wanting a marine electrician to do it, is because they'll know what rules we have to comply with. We don't know what we don't know. So it might well be that we have to make a box and come up with something, but
in Australia it's very regulated. Like there's a lot of rules. So it's good that it's here because everything will get covered.
Yeah. I kind of like that we're going to be doing it in a place that's pretty safety conscious.
Yeah.
And having a specialist Sparky do it too is good because they know the intricacies and subtleties of different installations. Like electricians, it's a very, very broad trade in Australia. Wiring up a domestic house is completely different to wiring up a factory.
Exactly.
Can you not move all the electronics, chargers, etc., in the office room up against the wall? So, actually, so.
Can you read that out?
So Phil's camping reviews on YouTube just put a comment. Can you not move all the electronics, chargers, etc., in the office room into the office room up against the wall? So we are actually looking at doing that. So at the moment, we've got what we call the YouTube box in the hallway of Brupeg. So for those that have been on the boat, you sort of might remember right next to the stairs going up into the wheelhouse, you've got a big sort of cupboard box drawers thing. We're actually going to convert that from, at the moment, it's kind of a workshop for our cameras. So we've got all our charging and batteries, and we assemble the cameras there and stuff every day. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to put the cameras on the wall in here in the office. We're going to move everything like that into the office. And we're going to turn that hallway cupboard into our electrical switchboard. and we're going to get the switchboard out of the cupboard that's in the wheelhouse. Because at the moment, if we have a breaker go or anything, it's a pain in the ass. You got to kind of bend yourself on an S pattern around the corner, and it's just a nightmare. So we're going to, and also working on it's a pain too, because you crouch down while you're trying to do anything. So we're going to gut that cupboard out, and it's just going to be a storage cupboard. And we're going to move all of the switchboards and breakers and everything like that around into the hallway, so that it's just all your breakers just in a row, and it's just a really simple case to be able to deal with anything. We'll have a generator panel up there. We'll probably have a brunette panel up there to monitor something, whatever it is. Might probably a power monitoring station, something along those lines. But all of it will be in one box, and it kind of it kind of separates out boat electronics from like cameras, phones, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
We'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah.
changed. It's 1 month.
Just clarify the battery type. What are you going for? Are they lithium batteries?
Lithium iron phosphate.
Cool. Sweet.
That link I sent through is not going to be practical for you guys, but I thought it'd be interesting to see what these guys are doing, because they've got more than half of the fleet of those ferries are contained have got EVs on them, so that they're really worried about the whole ship going down with lots of people on it.
Yeah, we'll have a look.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. Thanks.
Well, we should probably stop.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We've got good.
Sweet. Looking forward to seeing the thing come online tomorrow. The GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Been saving up. I've got at least $4.50 to put into that.
What's the exchange rate?
Thank you.
I can't guarantee that's actually going to make it into the boat. That might just end up at coffee shop.
Yeah.
Depends on the exchange rate.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's exchange
Depends on
rate.
the exchange rate.
Yeah. So I'll get half a coffee.
$2.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have put more in, but I'm saving up for my t-shirt.
I'll give you my allowance every week.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys. It's awesome. Looking forward to seeing it all go forward, positive stuff.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's all
very
pretty
much.
exciting.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated. Separate from the episodes, of course. As things happen, we'll put it on Patreon, so I keep you close and updated.
Yeah.
So, thank
Patreon.
you.
I've never heard of them.
Very quickly.
That doesn't mean anything.
Very quickly to answer Phil's question, have you considered building your own lithium battery packs? Yes, we have, but we quickly ruled it out because we just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
We could probably get more energy storage for less money, but at the same time, it may not necessarily be signed off by the Sparky or our insurance.
But Vitron's also saying they have requirements of certain things, and batteries is one of them. Right?
Vitron are going to supply the batteries, so so that's
Cool.
Good.
No worries. Thanks, Phil, for your comments. All right, we'll see you later.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Take care.
Welcome back, Birk.